This is Barber Motorsports Park near Birmingham, Alabama, one of the stops on the Mazda Road to Indy, and one of 5 tracks that hosts all 3 steps on the ladder, including the Verizon IndyCar Series in the same weekend. Welcome to the Mazda Road to Indy, the most well-defined open-wheel racing ladder in the world. I'm Kevin Lee, along with former Indy Lights and Pro Mazda driver Anders Krohn. This is the first of 4 one-hour specials where we're going to highlight and also update the 2014 season for the first 2 steps on the ladder. And we're also going to present some lap-by-lap coverage as well. And Anders, let's talk first about the first step on the ladder, and that's the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship powered by Mazda.
You know, the USF 2000 Championship is where you see the superstars of tomorrow being born. They're as young as 14 years old, and they come into this category very unrefined, but with a lot of talent.
Coming into the season, who are we most looking to?
I think we're looking mainly at 2 returning drivers in R.C. Enerson and Henrik Furuseth. Then we're looking at a youngster in Colton Herta, who's 14 years old, and also the son of Brian Herta, IndyCar driver.
When we talk about Pro Mazda, presented by Cooper Tires, I think all of those returning drivers are just happy that Matthew Brabham has moved on.
I couldn't agree anymore. He won 13 out of 16 races last year, absolutely dominated. He's now moved into Indy Lights, the next step on the ladder. A whole host of new drivers have come in, but I think the 2 strongest guys from last year, Spencer Pigot and Shelby Blackstock, it can be hard to beat this year.
Well, these are the future stars of IndyCar. It's a clear path to get to the Verizon IndyCar Series. The 2014 began for both series with doubleheaders in St. Petersburg the last weekend of March. The season begins in the wet, a heavy monsoon just about an hour or so before the start of this race. Delayed activity, and USF 2000 is the first back on track of the open wheel cars to get a taste of this course. And here's how they will start today, with Victor Franzoni and R.C. Enerson in the front row. A 20-car field. 2 will not be able to start. Gustavo Miyazawa and Felipe Donato crashed in qualifying. Cars could not be repaired, so they will not be able to start this race. Challenges, Anders, of racing in the wets.
This is just the toughest condition you can be on for these young drivers. Not only is it a wet surface, but it's a straight circuit, which means it's completely unforgiving. The only place to go if you make a mistake is the wall.
We've actually run 2 laps under yellow that will count, so we take the green flag. Lap number 3. Franzoni in the dark car with a green rear wing on the outside. And that's R.C. Enerson coming to the inside.
No visibility for any of these drivers going into the corner here. This is going to be tight as we see a couple of spinners. I think that's Clark Topi and Kevon Sori, as well as Henrik Furuseth there spinning out of contention. It looks like all of them are able to avoid any damage there, but certainly not the way that any of those had hoped to start the season.
And Enerson emerges in front.
Great jump there for R.C. Enerson, taking the advantage over Victor Franzoni that had the pole position. Great jump on the inside into turn 1. And as we can see, they're winding down the infield here. Very, very slippery. Lots of puddles and slippery lines here. This is tricky for these young drivers.
And Jake Edson got around for the 3rd position, passing Aaron Telitz. That's Edson back there in the white car running in 3rd. Enerson in front.
These guys are doing a great job right now, just single file at the moment. No one really challenging each other. I think at this point they haven't been on track in the rain yet, so they're just going to be experimenting with lines, as we see Nico Jamin taking the advantage over there and now looking ahead at Peter Portante as his next victim.
What do you see in here, if anything?
You really cannot see much. These wings and under tray of the cars really just sucks up the water from the surface and just sprays it right on the guy behind. So visibility is tough, especially as the speed increases here down the front straight, as we can see. Just look at R.C. Enerson, rooster tail here, throwing up water, making it impossible for the cars behind to see.
On the Cooper rain tires here today, and it's declared a wet race, and normally there's a choice if you want to ever change, but there's no choice needed. There's no chance of getting back to the slicks.
And these tires are much more similar to what you see road tires are, the Cooper road tires. They have treads, which then have to anticipate the water away from the tire and dig you into the ground. Normally, on a dry surface, we see slick tires. They don't have any grooves or anything like that to make the contact pads as big as possible. As we can see Nico Jamin trying for another pass here on Peter Portante. He's clearly very quick here in these conditions, coming from Europe and having raced in these conditions a lot.
On board with Nico Jamin.
This is exciting stuff. We see Adrian Starantino have a wicked loose moment there. He's a rookie to the series as well, doing a fine job here. As we can see Peter Partante as well, just slipping and sliding away so far, keeping the pressure away and doing a good job keeping Nico Jamin at bay.
Nico Jamin is just 18 years old from France. He didn't begin racing until he was 15. He wanted to be a pro tennis player, but knee problems at 15 moved him on to something else. He's picked this up pretty quick.
Hey, I think he's doing a fantastic job. This is his first year on the Mazda Road to Indy ladder. He's doing a great job adapting to the USF 2000 cars and Cooper tires so far.
Well, Franzoni is taking a look for the lead on Ederson coming into turn number 1. We'll keep an eye on this. Look at that. We've got 5 Indy 500 wins there and 8 championships with the Ganassi drivers. Back in St. Petersburg for USF 2000, the season opener, the Peninsula Pipeline GP of St. Petersburg with Anders Krohn. I'm Kevin Lee. R.C. Enerson is the early leader over Victor Franzoni in the wet here today at St. Pete for the season opener.
Victor Franzoni is clearly the quicker driver at the moment. He's just putting pressure on R.C. Enerson, but R.C.'s doing a great job here. He's not making a mistake, and as we can see, coming out of the final corner there onto the front straight, R.C. gets a great run.
And look how they take different paths. They don't want to try to draft. You want to get out of from behind that car so you can see.
Exactly. If you're stuck behind a car at this point in time, you cannot see anything, and especially going into the tough turn 1 braking zone here. As we can see, this is actually a landing strip here for airplanes, and as they go over these white strips, it's incredibly slippery, and that's why they're trying to avoid those as much as they can. As we see Jake Eatson and Nico Jamin running side by side. Nico Jamin having moved up through the field like a rocket, and now running in 3rd place.
On board with Aaron Telitz. I am impressed with how these young drivers are handling the wet. I expected much more carnage. We just had the 3 go around in turn number 1, which was remarkable.
They are showing maturity way beyond their years, these guys are. Some of them are straight out of karting. Some have done just a limited number of open-wheel races. However, they are acting and driving like complete professionals. As we can see, Jake Eatson and Aaron Telitz trying 2 completely different lines. And that's really what these drivers need to do in the opening stage of this race. They need to experiment and figure out where is the grip, where can I get the traction with these Cooper tires.
Great racing here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th position, especially the 4th and 5th position with Edson leading. And they were on board for a moment with Telitz. Up front, the leaders going at it. Ederson in the blue car. Franzoni swings way wide in the exit of 14. Drag race down the main straightaway. Does Franzoni have the momentum? And then can he make it stick in turn number 1?
This could be a tight one, and it all comes down to who has the most grip under the braking zone. As we see Franzoni almost losing it, running on the outside of R.C. Enerson through turn 1 as he takes the lead. And you know what? He's shown that he is the quicker car at the moment. I would not be surprised to see him pull away here.
Franzoni, the 19-year-old from Sao Paulo, grabs the lead here in the season opener.
And these two guys have absolutely checked out from the field. As we saw here, Nico Jamin was able to take that third spot. He showed a lot of speed, but he's going to take a lot to catch up as we see Jeroen Slaghecki off the track in the final corner. He'll want to regain and try and catch that pack ahead of him.
So we are able to stay green. Battle for sixth position. Battles all over the racetrack. Starantino, Portante, and Burkett going at it. That's Starantino in front of the 91.
And, you know, all these guys right behind him are veterans of USF 2000. Starantino is a rookie to USF 2000, doing a great job holding these guys off. However, it looks like Portante has the pace on Starantino at the moment.
Will Owen into the barrier.
That looks like a bit of a vicious hit. That's such a tough corner right there. Turn 8, just so tough.
Let's see this one again. On board with Will Owen, 19-year-old from Colorado.
Man, he just tries to carry a little bit too much speed, and as you can see, just as he crosses those yellow stripes, they're ferociously slippery in these conditions, and he just puts it in the wall. That's a bad hit there, and puts him out of the race.
So we are going to go full course caution for Will Owen, who looks to be okay, climbing out of the car. He was still doing karts at times last year, did some cars with Formula Mazda, and won 3 times, but not going to happen for him here today. Stay with us. Victor Franzoni is out in front in USF 2000 at St. Pete's. Back in St. Petersburg with Anders Krohn, I'm Kevin Lee. It's the season opener for the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, powered by Mazda, and it's in the wet. We're under a full course caution, but getting set to go racing again, and there will be just 3 laps remaining. Around turn 14, back on the range, straight away, the green flies, lap 13. Victor Franzoni being challenged by R.C. Ederson.
RC is going to try that exact same move he did at the beginning, except now Franzoni is able to brake a little bit deeper. They are side by side. RC is so good on her brakes here, but Franzoni takes the advantage, and I'm wondering if we're going to see the same thing here with Franzoni just pulling out a gap.
Nico Jamin in third there in the red 41 car.
Peter Portante going around, spinning in turn 3. Oh, that is a bad place to spin right there. Completely blind corner for the other cars coming around the corner.
Portante looks like he's going to get out of there. Let's see if we can see this from the onboard. Oh,
just gets a little bit loose. You can see Adrian Starantino in front of him got a little bit loose too, and it looked like Peter just turned in a little bit too late to get into that bank in the middle of the corner. Contact there. Austin Cindric having some contact and going to fall to the back of the field. That's a shame for him. He was having a strong run here in this wet race.
He was 14 last year, the youngest in USF 2000. Got a couple of those this year. Back underway, so just the local yellow, and we stay green. And Franzoni has stretched out that advantage a little bit on Ederson.
And look at Nico Jamin. This is what he was hoping for. He was running in third, but he was quite a ways back. And now he's going to try and get an advantage on R.C. Ederson. Going to try and get a good run out here. However, it's Aaron Talitz that's looking here on Nico Jamin.
He's in the black car, fourth there. Jamin comes down a little bit low, but he leaves enough room. On board now with Talitz.
Oh, Jamin there just squeezing Talitz a little bit. Talitz was pretty committed there to the inside, and then Jamin just made it a little bit too tough for him to make that move.
Not just wet conditions, but standing water here today. Again, an hour ago, most of us thought we were done for the day.
This is just crazy weather we've seen in the past hour here, and luckily we're getting this race in. And for these drivers, this is just a great piece of experience because they're going to race at this track all the way up the Mazda Road to Indy, including the Verizon IndyCar Series. So the practice they're getting right now is great, but Aaron Telitz spinning and hitting the wall. So a spin there for both cars for the Arms Up Motorsports team. That's a shame.
Telitz was running in the 4th position, and he was challenging for 3rd. Let's take a look again, and we have the onboard with Telitz. Let's listen.
Sounds like his throttle is just stuck there after the crash, but he did the same exact thing that we just saw Will Owen do. Just try to carry a little bit too much speed in. He had the pace on Nico and Jameen, wanting to close that gap just a little bit too quickly, and stuck it in the wall. That is how unforgiving this track is.
So Edson moves up to 4th as we see the white flag. One more turnaround.
This is Nico Jameen's final chance here to have a look at R.C. Enerson, as we see Victor Franzoni is just checked out. He's clearly got the best pace here out of anyone.
On board with Jameen, trying to catch up to Enerson. Can't do him in turn number 1. Maybe one more opportunity around this course. However, we're talking about the wet. Every corner is an opportunity.
Exactly, and it really is just about limiting your mistakes, as we see Franzoni here going into turn 4. He's been picture perfect this entire race so far, has made no mistakes. As we look at his hands going through the corners, so many corrections here in the wet. In the dry, it's usually very, very smooth, but here we can see so many corrections. Aaron Telitz there still stuck up against that wall, but Victor able to avoid him, doing a fine job here.
And that car is Juan Maldonado right behind the leader. That is a lapped car. And there you see Enerson will get past him, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. Barring a mistake, it's going to be a win for Victor Franzoni.
And what a huge win this is going to be. It's his first year in USF 2000, coming from a large background of racing in Europe and his home country of Brazil. This is going to be a big win.
Franzoni won at NOLA Motorsports Park near New Orleans in the Cooper Tires Winterfest, but now he's going to kick off 2014 in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship with a season-opening win in the wet on the streets of St. Petersburg. Victor Franzoni is the winner.
What a race. I can't believe it. These guys drove so well, so mature, and just absolute professionalism from all drivers concerned.
No doubt, very impressive drive for Victor Franzoni and all others involved here today in the season opener at St. Petersburg. And here is the full field rundown. R.C. Enerson hangs on to the 2nd position. Jameen in 3rd. Jake Edson in 4th. Good run for Daniel Burkett as well. And in the 2nd page, we see Andrew List, the Tilton Hard Charger Award winner. He went from 20th to 12th position. Let's hear from the winner.
Oh, it was difficult. It was raining, didn't stop it, but the track is still wet, so it was difficult to brake on the line, so it was really difficult, but on the end it was perfect. It's a nice way to start the season, start a championship, so let's see if we can keep the pace.
19-year-old Victor Franzoni is now a winner. This is how he got it done with the Replay XD move of the race on board. Victor Franzoni getting around R.C. Enerson for the lead. So one race down. The points are pretty straightforward as far as the championship is concerned, but never too early to look at the points in round 1 of 14. Round 2, day number 2, different conditions. It was the dry. R.C. Enerson moves up one step on the podium, and he gets his first win in USF 2000. Nice run for Florian Latour to get to the podium. And Victor Franzoni finished 2nd, but he was DQ'd for a flywheel infraction. So it could have been a great points weekend for Victor Franzoni. So R.C. Enerson is there to take the benefit and to advance significantly in the championship.
Jake Edson there looking pretty good in 2nd place. He was kind of the dark horse here, but did a great job.
Now to Alabama, the beautiful Barber Motorsports Park, where R.C. Enerson continues his momentum. So it's 2nd, 1st, and now 1st in race 1 at Barber Motorsports Park, and another nice run for Florian Latour.
Another great run for this young driver, as we see a few of the expected ones to be up there not quite coming through, with Victor Franzoni down in 13th.
Latour is just 16 years old from France. And Enerson celebrating on the top step of the podium. So there's the championship. Enerson stretches that lead. Edson, Latour, Starantino, and Franzoni. And to race number 2, more of the same. R.C. Enerson, the 17-year-old from Newport Richey, Florida, and Team E Racing wins yet again. Great start for him. He finished 9th in USF 2000 last year. Best result last year was 2nd, and already this season, he's won 3 straight times.
What a start to the season for R.C. Enerson. I don't think he could have dreamed of this, but absolutely astonishing.
So now he has a very strong lead on Edson and Latour after 4 of 14 races. Franzoni with the DQ lingering back just a little bit. All right, stay with us. We're going to talk Pro Mazda coming up in just a moment. Our first quarter highlights show for the Mazda Road to Indy continues with Anders Krohn. I'm Kevin Lee. On to Pro Mazda presented by Cooper Tires. Their season also began in St. Petersburg. And Spencer Pigot gets the early jump on the championship with the win, Anders.
Kyle Kaiser getting his first podium in Pro Mazda. Scott Hargrove, our reigning USF 2000 champion, rounding out the podium.
Spencer Pigot is 20 years old from Orlando, Florida, driving for Yukos Racing. He finished 4th in the Pro Mazda Championship, had a win last year at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport, and 4 more podiums, but he gets this one started in the right fashion and has the early jump on the championship. The points are as they finished in race number 1, the first of a doubleheader. That was in the wet. Round 2 was in the dry. Day 2 in late March in St. Petersburg. So Pigot goes 2 for 2, and another good result for Kyle Kaiser.
And a strong run there for rookie Pipo Durrani, having competed in Europe for the past couple of years, rounding out the podium there.
So in the championship, it still is Spencer Pigot. He expands that advantage just a little bit after winning 1 and 2 in St. Petersburg to kick off the 2014 season. Kyle Kaiser, Pipo Durrani, Scott Hargrove. He's definitely someone we're thinking is going to contend for the title. And moving on to round number 3 to Alabama and beautiful Barber Motorsports Park.
This is just a magnificent facility. We see this track every year on the Verizon IndyCar Series. It's now back on the Pro Mazda schedule, and I think all these guys and gals are happy that it's on.
So the winner of the first 2 rounds starts on the pole, Spencer Pigot. There's Hargrove on the outside, Alberico and Kaiser in row 2, Gutierrez and Blackstock in row number 3.
And my big question here, Kevin, is can Spencer make it 3 for 3? Or will this be the race when someone else breaks through and takes a win?
Cars will begin to get lined up here in just a moment. Scott Hargrove last year won the USF 2000 championship with 4 wins, making the jump to Pro Mazda. Just 19 years old from Vancouver. We'll see how much he will challenge Spencer Pigot going into turn number 1. You see the E next to the names. That stands for expert class. Those are older drivers that are still competing, but not quite in the 16 to 22-year-old range of up-and-comers. Nice formation. Here we go, and Spencer Pigot jumps out to a very quick advantage. And too quick. They're going to wave that one off.
Too quick there. In the rules, it states that you have to be side by side as you start accelerating, and Spencer just got on the gas a little bit too quick there and broke the formation. But I think this is just Spencer knowing that he needs to get a good start here. There's very limited passing at Bardman Motorsports Park, and he did everything he could to get an early advantage here. As we can see, he's backing up the field ever so slightly, backing them up, and then going to power. And as you can see, he just drifts out too wide and takes that lane away from Hargrove, and that is not acceptable, unfortunately.
I was on board with Kyle Kaiser, who's starting on the outside of row number 2, so they will wind their way again. Tell us about this course. You've raced here.
This is the most flowing road course that's on this schedule. It's originally designed for motorcycles, which means that there are more flowing corners and less braking zones than you typically see on a track designed for automobiles. However, what it's resulted in is many, many great Verizon IndyCar races, and I think we have a great and exciting race to look forward to in Pro Mazda as well.
We'll see if we get a better start here. Although Spencer Pigot was okay with that one. You want to get the jump, but you just can't jump too much.
And this place is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, everything is done so well and manicured so well, as we see the Barber Motorsports Park Vintage Museum in the background there with hundreds of bikes and also Formula One cars.
You have to make a trip there. It's worth coming down for the IndyCar weekend because it's double the opportunity with all of the motorcycles, the Lotus racing cars. Fantastic stuff that George Barber and his staff have put together. All right, lined up very nicely, 2 by 2, ready to go. Round number 3 in Pro Mazda. Spencer Pigot is in the green car, number 7 on the inside. Scott Hargrove, the white 3 car with some blue. Great formation around turn number 17, back on the main straightaway. Pigot gets a little bit of a jump, but not too much. Hargrove nearly gets into the grass, might have touched.
Hargrove a little bit on the grass there. Spencer just giving him a little bit of a squeeze. As we can see, Kyle Kaiser now looking at Scott Hargrove, not able to do anything there. Neil Alberico looking around the outside as we see up to 3 wide going through turn 2 and 3. And this is going to be vital because you're now coming up into the only passing zone on the track, which is turn 5. Who's going to look to the inside? Neil Alberico looking to take that 3rd spot. Can't get it done, but Pipo Derani around the outside now taking the 4th spot all the way from 6th.
Great racing in the early moments. Kyle Kaiser picked up a spot. He gets to 3rd. Take a look at Durrani taking another look to the inside.
As we see Garrett Grist and Julia Bellario racing side by side. This is crazy stuff. And again, these guys and gals know just how important the opening lap is here because passing later in the race is tough.
Pipo Derani is in the yellow and black car running in 4th position. One of the Pelfrey cars, there are 3 that are almost identical, but Derani is the one running up near the front.
As we can see, Spencer has pulled out an early lead here over Scott Hargrove and Kyle Kaiser. And we can see Pipo Derani just backing up Neil Alberico and Shelby Blackstock ever so slightly. Shelby, I think he's going to be a little bit disappointed with his performance to date this season because he really was the strongest returning driver this year, having finished 3rd in the Pro Mazda Championship last year, and he's definitely looking to win it this year.
Blackstock finished 10th and 4th at St. Petersburg. He comes in tied for 5th in the championship. On board with Blackstock, looking up ahead to Neil Alberico. And Julia Bellario is off into the kitty litter.
That's a shame for her. That looks to me like it's turn 1. We'll get a confirmation on that here, but that's a shame for her. She's shown some great pace, both in the Winterfest and the opening rounds of the main championship, and is just looking to put it all together. So this is a shame for her that she is out of the race.
We'll wait and see, and yes, it is coming up. We are under a full course caution. Let's take another look at what happened to Julia Bellario.
Coming into turn 1 here, and just loses it all by herself, it looks like. There's no contact there. that's such a tough corner. It's going steep downhill. It's a top gear corner, 5th gear corner, where they're entering at about 130 miles an hour. It's certainly easy to make a mistake there.
Valario is back underway, but we are under a full course caution. Very early stages here from Barber Motorsports Park with Pro Mazda. Back in Birmingham, Alabama for round number 3 of the Pro Mazda presented by Cooper Tires Championship with Anders Krohn. I'm Kevin Lee, coming to a restart after the full course caution. It's Spencer Pigot leading Scott Hargrove. Kyle Kaiser is in the 3rd position. Lap number 6 of 20 today. Pigot in the green and white car has a good jump again. Blackstock taking a peek to the inside on Alberico.
Turn 1 is not a passing spot, as we see Ryan Booth trying to make the pass on Dalton Kellett there. They're going to go side by side through turn 2 and 3, and it looks like Booth is going to be able to take that position. Very impressive stuff from the young California native.
Don't see a lot of side-by-side racing here, but they're going at it.
As we see Brandon Newey and Kyle Connery as well going side-by-side into turn 5. The same with Pipo Durrani and Neil Alberico. Looked like Neil just made a last-minute lunge down the inside and made it stick. Very impressive move.
And that might allow an opportunity for Shelby Blackstock. It almost appeared like they touched on board again with Blackstock, trying to track down Durrani for that 5th position.
But as we've seen before with Pipo Durrani, he is a very aggressive driver, and he certainly is not going to make it easy for the driver behind to make a pass.
Pipo Durrani comes in 3rd in the championship, 4th and 3rd at St. Petersburg. Last year he was in the FIA European Formula 3 Championship, had a couple of 2nd place and a 3rd place finish. He's just 20 years old from Brazil. That's him ahead in the yellow Pelfrey car.
As we can see, he's going wide here in turn 13, 14, trying to set up the corner, but he runs too wide. That's allowing Shelby a great look at him. Let's see if Shelby can set him up to get a draft here. But again, going up into turn 1 here, it's a very tough place to pass, and I don't think we're going to see anything this lap.
Turn 1 is so challenging. It's so fast, quick downhill.
And as a driver, when you turn into that corner, you actually cannot see the corner until you're halfway through it. So you're turning into the blind. You're using outside curbing and other reference marks as your turning point. And then suddenly, as you're in the middle of the corner, you see where the corner is going.
Here's a look at Michelle Bumgarner, one of the ladies in Pro Mazda.
She is doing a fine job there. She actually made her debut in Pro Mazda back in 2008. Had a few years away from racing, but now coming back in with the World Speed Motorsports Group, and yeah, she's doing just a fine job here.
She's from the Philippines, 24 years old. Brandon Newey taking another peek there in one of the other Pelfrey cars, yellow and black. He's in the number 82, running right ahead of Bumgarner.
And he's got 2 JDC Motorsports cars right in front of him. He's got Vicky Piria and Kyle Connery right in front of him, and we know he has his sights on passing both of them. Really great stuff here as they go through turns 11 and 12 here. Super fast section on the track going up into turn 13 here. All these corners are such high G load. such a great flow, and when you have a great setup on a car, it just makes for an awesome race day.
Piggott going back into turn number 1. How much, if any, are they braking in this turn 1?
They're actually barely touching the brakes whatsoever. Just a lift off the power, slight hit on the brake, and they're barreling through that corner and then back on power as they get into that huge banking. As we can see here, Shelby Blackstock is really putting a lot of pressure on Pipo Derani. Looks like Pipo is falling off the pace here. He is not able to keep up with Neil Alberico in front of him.
Blackstock is still a very young driver, but in Pro Mazda standards, he's got some experience. He's 24 years old. He's driven sports cars in the Continental Challenge, including at Indianapolis last year, and has had some success in the Mazda Road to Indy.
He has, absolutely. He's had several podiums, both in this and in the Continental Tire Challenge with his fall line BMW M3 team. So he's doing a fine job here. He is gaining experience. And you know what? I think that his sports car experience is helping aid him in open wheel racing as well, because it teaches you patience. It's just a different way of racing. So I think what he's doing is according to the textbook.
For a young driver, you just want to be in any kind of car as often as you can. Seat time is what it's about.
You absolutely do, and Shelby is one of those drivers that's just keeping busy, and it's showing here. He's doing a great job trying to position himself for a pass here. People running just a bit wide through 13-14, trying to set up that run coming onto the front straight. Doing a good job at that here.
What is tougher, to not make a mistake when you're chasing someone or when you're being chased?
When you're being chased, hands down. Because when you're chasing someone, you're on the attack, you're on the offense. When you're being chased, you're on the defense. You're reactive, you're not proactive. So it's such a tough thing when you are being chased to continue to focusing forward and not just looking in mirrors. And as we know, in anything you do in life, if you're not focusing forward, you're not focusing on the right thing.
Well, Spencer Piggott is in charge of this race right now, leading Scott Hargrove and Kyle Kaiser. Best battle back there, though, involves Pipo Derani running in 5th position, and Shelby Blackstock on board with his car right now in 6th.
And the guys up front really have checked out, and it's really just Pipo Derani here from Team Pelfrey, and then Shelby Blackstock and Garrett Grist of Andretti Autosport chasing them. Ryan Booth is next up here with Dalton Kellett trying to chase him down.
Here's Garrett Grist running in 7th.
Garrett, another driver moving up from USF 2000 this past year, having done 1 year of USF 2000 with Andretti Autosport, now moving up into Pro Mazda with those guys and doing a great job so far.
Grist won last year at Mid-Ohio, 3 more podiums, 3rd in the championship, and Blackstock going at it with Derani, trying to get around him.
Side by side into turn 14. That is a place where you typically don't make it past. Pipo trying for a bit of a block. This could all be over at this point. I think Shelby's going to have the inside. No, he's not. Pipo's going to give him a squeeze. Oh, that is tight through there. You do not want to go 2 by 2. But look at this. This is giving Garrett Grist a great chance at seeing if he can take both of them.
Grist and Blackstock are teammates with Andretti Autosport, chasing the Pelfrey car. 5th position as they head to turn 5, the hairpin.
And look at this, Ryan Booth getting the run on Garrett Grist there. It's so tough when you get bottled up by someone to keep the momentum and protect yourselves from the drivers behind. Ryan Booth making the most of that at this point, still running side by side with Garrett, going up now into turn 8-9.
It also saw Jose Gutierrez in the green Yuncos racing car pick up a position.
This is just great racing all through the field. This race is providing a lot of action for us, and I don't think we expected that coming into the race weekend, just knowing how tough it is to pass here.
Gutierrez got around Dalton Kellett in one of the Pelfrey cars. So Derani, after being challenged by Blackstock earlier in the lap, has maintained that position, but Blackstock is still within striking distance.
Pipo is clearly off the pace here and is just doing everything he can to limit his mistakes at this point. But Shelby has a run here. I'd be surprised if we don't see him pop to the outside. That's usually not a place where you can make that stick going through turn 1, but he does. Oh, that is an awesome move from Shelby Blackstock around the outside of turn 1. You do not see that often, especially not without a crash.
And I think really good racing, too, by Derani, because he gave them some room there. He could have made that even more difficult and ended both of their days.
Very respectful driving, and that's just what the Verizon IndyCar team owners look at. They want to see drivers that race hard, but also that are able to respect their competitors.
Well, Gutierrez and Kellett have been going at it as well, and Gutierrez back in front. His teammate Spencer Piggott in control halfway through here at Barber Motorsports Park. This is round 3 of the Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tires with Anders Krohn on Kevin Lee. Just past the halfway point, and Brandon Newey of Team Pelfrey goes around on course. Spencer Pigot is the leader. Newey was having a strong race. Unfortunately, he's not going to have the good result now.
He was indeed, and I'm struggling to identify exactly where on track this is. That's turn 11 right there. As he gets loose, and that is the last place on this track you want to get loose. Luckily, he avoids contact with the wall. That is the fastest section of corners on this track. Luckily, avoids the wall there and is able to continue.
Back up front with Spencer Pigot. He's led every lap today. He's getting used to that. He's won the first 2 races. He has been in front all season long here in 2014 in Pro Mazda.
He has not seen any dirty air from any of the drivers behind. And you know what? Scott Hargrove as well, doing a great job here coming into Pro Mazda for his very first year, as we get a great onboard shot here with Pipo Durrani.
He had been battling with Shelby Blackstock for much of this race before Blackstock eventually dispatched him, and then he took off.
He did indeed, and he is just gone. He's not even in the shot at this point. Pipo clearly struggling for pace in this race. It's a lot hotter than it was in qualifying, and this could be the reason why, that the balance is just not quite right for him, and he's not as happy as it could be in the car.
Durrani maintaining that advantage.
And Ryan Booth with a really strong run here in one of his first Pro Mazda races here.
Booth is 21 years old from South Carolina. He was in the IMSA Cooper Tires Prototype Light Series last year, won 7 times. Took a sabbatical while he went to college at the University of Colorado. Now back in it. And showing well here today in Alabama.
And you want to know what? I think another one of the reasons why Ryan Booth has been so quickly up to pace in the Pro Mazda car is the fact that he was also driving Cooper Tires in the IMSA Lights Championship last year, which have a very similar compound, so he already knows this tire. The Pro Mazda drivers from last year, they had a bit of a change in compound, so essentially he's stepping into a bit less of an unknown than he would if he'd never driven on those tires before.
6th through 10th is what we've been seeing there, and here is our leader, Spencer Pigot.
He is just looking so perfect at the moment. He's putting all the right moves here. Scott Hargrove doing everything he can to fight back, but not able to do anything at this point. And you know what, Kevin? When you're in this mode of just perfection and just winning races, it's a beautiful thing, as we see Bobby Eberle here with a spin. But when you're in the mode of being just picture perfect and doing things right, it's this incredible zone. It's almost as if you can't do anything wrong. And I really think we're not going to see that from Spencer until he is slightly on the back foot, and then we'll see how he responds to pressure.
Durrani still holding off that pack of cars, followed closely by Ryan Booth. There's Jose Gutierrez. He's had a nice race today, and he's had some action. Just 17 years old from Mexico. He did 4 Pro Mazda races last year, was top 10 in each of them. He has a chance at his best result this season, 20th and 9th at St. Pete's. All right, we saw Bobby Eberle, one of the expert class drivers, a moment ago, and there is another look at his spin. And that's turn number 15 of 17. Meanwhile, Spencer Pigot is in charge. Laps are winding down. He's trying to go 3 for 3 at 14. Our first quarter highlight show for the Mazda Road to Indy continues with action in round 3 of the Pro Mazda presented by Cooper Tires Championship. Laps winding down for Barber Motorsports Park. Just 3 to go. On board with Scott Hargrove, who's been trying to chase down Spencer Pigot. Has had no luck. Pigot has been in control from the start, looking to go 3 for 3. But we have had good battles throughout the field, including this for 6th position.
Pipo Derani just trying to hang on to it here. Ryan Booth right behind him, followed by Garrett Grist. Pipo has been very good here. Even though he's off the pace, he has just kept it clean and limited his mistakes. That's why he's still in 6th place at this point.
Derani, Booth, then Grist, Gutierrez. Right behind them. In 10th place in that yellow car, that's Dalton Kellett. Very difficult to pass at this course, and we have seen some battles for position, especially early in this race. This is about being precise, being clean. You're just trying to be in position if someone makes a mistake that you can bounce.
And we'll typically see a lot more passing when the tires are cold. Essentially, after every start and restart, we'll see a lot of that, as we see Shelby Blackstock here trying to put on the pressure on Alberico. But as you can see, even if Shelby here is quicker than Alberico, getting close enough to the car in front of you is tough. Not only because of physically, the cars generate so much downforce and turbulent air so that the car behind you picks that up and loses grip, but also because the level is so high here that no drivers are going to be way off pace.
Blackstock, who most know is the son of country music superstar Reba McEntire, has picked up a great deal of experience. As we mentioned, he's one of the more experienced drivers, but this has been a good race to learn from. He had a good, successful battle with Pipo Derani earlier to get that position, and now he's trying to chase down Neil Alberico for 4th.
And Alberico just defending there up in towards turn 5, keeping the line clean. For now, he is able to hang on to that. And the interesting story about Neil Alberico and Scott Hargrove, much alike, is that they're racing for Cape Motorsports with Wayne Taylor Racing. It's Neil Alberico and Scott Hargrove's first year in Pro Mazda, moving up from USF 2000. But the same goes for Cape Motorsports. It's their first foray into the Pro Mazda Championship, currently running now 2nd and 3rd. Great running for them.
Alberico was 2nd in the championship last year in USF 2000 with 6 wins, right behind his teammate Hargrove, who won 4 times and had 5 more podiums. And there's Spencer Pigot, a veteran in this series, 4th last year in Pro Mazda, had a win. He's looking to go 3 for 3 in 2014. At this point, you can start thinking about Indy Lights for next year in the scholarship. White flag one more time around for Spencer Pigot.
Spencer is just looking so strong. He's a veteran of the Mazda Road to Indy altogether. He's done 2 years of USF 2000, first year with Andretti Autosport, the 2nd year with Cape Motorsports with Wayne Taylor Racing. Moved into Pro Mazda last year with Team Palfrey, gained a lot of experience, had some good results, including a win in Canada, and this year just looks to be on an absolute roll.
And Blackstock is trying to force Alberico into a mistake. One more opportunity coming up here into turn number 5. Hard braking zone, hairpin coming up. Is Blackstock going to be close enough? He's going to try a little bit of over-under. Can he duck back to the inside?
He is not going to be able to make that stick. Alberico playing this very smart, just kind of stopping the car in the middle of the corner and making sure that Blackstock can't get that line coming out here. Alberico driving very defensively here, but clean. No need to pull out the rule book here. This is all clean so far.
And Blackstock is not giving up. He's still looking for any possible opportunity to get one more spot and move up to 4th position. Swinging it wide there. Pigot, just a few more turns to go. He is in control. What an impressive start to this season for Spencer Pigot. Back down the main straightaway. 20-year-old Spencer Pigot is 3 for 3 in 2014 in Pro Mazda.
Another win, 3 in a row for Spencer Pigot. What a run for him. But I also think Scott Hargrove and Neil Alberico have to be really happy with this run, considering that they are rookies to Pro Mazda.
And also Kyle Kaiser on the podium. We didn't see much of him. He was really kind of running his own race all by himself. But great results.
Great result indeed. And Shelby Blackstock rounding out the top 5 there.
Our Quartermaster Hard Charger Award goes to Kyle Connery. He moved up 8 positions from 19th to 11th. And time for the Replay XD move of the race. Shelby Blackstock getting by Pipo Derani. This was on lap 11 for 5th position. But the winner, Spencer Pigot, talked with Tristan Vautier after the race.
It was close. I thought the outside was probably the better position for me on the start. There's quite a lot of grip on the outside of one, and got a pretty good start, and just hung it out there on the outside. The restart was really close as well, but just able to hang on to the lead. I knew once we got out in front, we'd be able to pull away, so really excited, and couldn't start the season any better.
So now after 3 rounds, the points start to get a little bit more interesting, but it's still all Spencer Pigot, 3 for 3. Kyle Kaiser maintains his position in 2nd, and Scott Hargrove in 3rd. So the next day, round number 4 in the Pro Mazda Championship, and again it's Spencer Pigot, 4 for 4, Anders.
This guy is on an absolute roll, as we see here. Scott Hargrove finishing 2nd yet again. Shelby Blackstock able to get back on the podium there. Good to see him back up there where he deserves to be, no doubt.
Solid weekend for Spencer Pigot, and what a great start to 2014, winning 4 times. And here's how the championship looks after round 4 before they head to Indianapolis to race 2 times on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and also at Lucas Oil Raceway. That's all coming up in the month of May for the Pro Mazda Championship. USF 2000 is also going to be racing 2 times on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thank you for joining us. For Anders Krohn, I'm Kevin Lee. This is NBCSN.